Sounds good. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about the Microsoft AI story. My name is Sri Ganapati. I'm a director in our global Black Belt organization. So my team focuses exclusively on our AI services. We work with many enterprise and other customers in helping them adopt our AI platform. So again, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks to Angelbeat for organizing these wonderful sessions from different industry speakers. So in my section, we have a couple of Microsoft sessions, and I'm going to have my peer Bala go after me right after this. My section, I'm going to be talking about knowledge mining. So this is a very important topic, and I've been working with many customers around this. So I'm very excited to share, what Microsoft is doing in this space. Knowledge mining is all about how can we extract insights from unstructured data, and how do we use AI services specifically to do this. So that's going to be the focus of my topic. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to actually do some demos instead of just boring you with a bunch of PowerPoint slides. I'm pretty sure you've seen a few slides already, so I don't want to do PowerPoint by death today if I can avoid it. So I'm going to jump into demo mode here shortly. But before we do that, I'm going to definitely set some context in helping you understand what do we mean by knowledge mining. So I'm going to maybe use a few slides, but then we'll jump into demos. Before I even talk about knowledge mining, which is one AI service that we focus on, Microsoft, as you probably know, offers a portfolio of different AI services. And here is a slide that talks about our different services that are part of the AI portfolio. On the left, you see the audience target type. So whether you're a developer or a data scientist, whether you're a business user, there are many different offerings from Microsoft that you can take advantage of. I'm not going to drain this slide, but I'm going to quickly talk about how the slide is structured. So I'm going to start from the bottom up. So at the bottom of the slide is our machine learning platform called Azure Machine Learning. This is our comprehensive data science platform that enables you as a developer or a data scientist to come in and bring your own models, build your own models, manage the end-to-end life cycle, have all the compute capabilities of the cloud, being able to spin up and spin down resources, and then automate those workflows, as we call them, MLOps. All those are priority focus areas of this platform called as Azure Machine Learning. So that's kind of our fundamental building block if you're building your own models, if you want to manage machine learning models using Azure. Now we have a number of different other services, as you can see. The next one up the chain is more targeted at developers, where Microsoft has built a number of AI services. We have a number of AI models that we use in our own existing products. As you know, Microsoft uses machine learning and deep learning in many of our products like PowerPoint, Bing, Xbox, Kinect, etc. What we do is we bring all of these models to the end user so that they can just quickly plug it into their applications. So this is research that Microsoft does with our R&D and the use of these products, these models in our existing services, and we offer them as APIs that developers can take advantage of. We call them cognitive services. And we have 4 classifications: vision, speech, language, decision. So depending on the type of scenario you're looking to solve, you may want to check out a number of AI models that we have under each of those categories. These are pre-trained, pre-built models, but they're also customizable, meaning that you can take these models and you can train them with your own data set. And we'll apply transfer learning so that those models perform better for your specific scenario. And then if you go one level up the stack, we have applied AI services. And knowledge mining, the topic that I'm going to talk about, falls in that bucket of applied AI services, where we have taken these existing AI models, we have taken our machine learning platform, and we offer a service that's focused on solving a particular scenario. So think of them as a scenario-focused service that we have built so that you can quickly get started in solving for that problem. And the service that I'm specifically going to talk about is called Cognitive Search, which is what knowledge mining is based on. But we have a number of other services that are in that bucket called Applied AI Services that you can also take advantage of. So as you go up the stack, it's more about how can we bring you AI as a packaged offering versus you having to build everything from scratch. Now, if you're a data scientist and if you want to build your own models, that's perfectly fine with the machine learning platform. Or as a developer, you can take advantage of some of these pre-built models. Or if you have a scenario that aligns with one of these services that we have, like search, like content moderation, like video indexing, then you can quickly take advantage of them and use it as a ready-to-go sort of offer. And then on the top for business users, what we always do is we want to enable the business users. And we have a number of tools and services that business users are already using from Microsoft, like Power BI, like Power Apps. These are no-code, low-code sort of tools that business users can quickly take advantage of. And we have integrated all of these AI offerings, or many of these AI offerings, into those products. So Power BI, if you're already familiar with Power BI, which is a visualization tool, a lot of these AI services are built in. So you don't have to go and build those services using a different tool. You can consume that within Power BI. And the same applies for a number of these other services as well. So that's the end-to-end look at how Microsoft looks at our AI portfolio. So whether you're a business user, developer, data scientist, you have a number of different options that you can take advantage of depending on your skill set. All right, so let's now talk about knowledge mining, which is really the area that I want to focus on for this particular section. So knowledge mining, it's all about understanding the latent value in your content. So you have typically in an organization, and this is a real picture, by the way, from a customer that told us, here is where all my information is. I have a lot of these things sitting in paper, and I want to, first of all, digitize them, and then I want to extract meaning from them. So how do you do that? How do you actually intelligently go after this unstructured content that typically organizations have? The reason why unstructured content is often not focused as an important area is because many of the database systems, many of the business intelligence systems are focused on structured data, because you have your SQL databases, your Oracle databases, and all of those CRM, ERP type systems, which are primarily structured. And organizations, IT organizations, have spent a ton of time in creating a process of taking that information and creating information or insights from that, because that's typically the business critical sort of information. But a lot of important information, latent value, actually resides in these unstructured documents, whether they're sitting in paper like this or in PDFs and Word documents and other such types of files. Oftentimes, organizations don't pay a lot of attention to it. And even if they do, it's a very manual process. So knowledge mining is all about taking all of this information and figuring out how do we intelligently get insights from them. So how do we do that? Here is where AI comes in. So we can take advantage of a lot of the AI skills or AI models that we have in order to do this. So if you have content that is unstructured, one of the first things that we can do is, whether it's handwritten or whether it's in files like PDF and others, we can use our services like OCR and others to be able to read that information and digitize them and then store them so that you can intelligently do something with it. Or if you have pictures or other types of files, so these need not be just text-based files. It could be audio, it could be video, it could be pictures. We can, of course, apply AI services like image recognition, video indexing to take information from these unstructured data content and be able to extract meaning from it. And then last but not the least, you have other types of text that you may be able to also get from these different services. So for example, you may have forms like these, right? You may have, whether it's W-2 forms, whether it's a 5471 document like I'm showing you here, they have some sort of structure, but they're still in, unstructured documents like forms. And how do you extract key value pairs from these forms? So whether it's getting text, whether it's tagging images, captioning images, whether it's taking specific entities and recognizing them from documents like forms, how do we do that? That's where AI comes into play. And that's what this whole topic called knowledge mining is all about. All right, so the service that we use at Microsoft to enable this is called Azure Cognitive Search. So Azure Cognitive Search is a service that we use to enable you to get meaning from unstructured data. Azure Cognitive Search has been around for many, many years. So Azure Cognitive Search primarily functioned as just a keyword search engine many years ago. And since Microsoft also owns the Bing ecosystem, we have a lot of knowledge and innovation that comes from the Bing search team. And we have taken that and given you a product that you can use as an enterprise search offering. Well, that's the traditional way of just doing search on keywords, which I think there are a lot of offerings out there in the industry like Elastic and others. But where this differentiates is the fact that we can now apply AI services and AI models within the search ecosystem, making it not just a search service, but making it a cognitive search service. So making those sorts of AI capabilities possible, which we'll talk about here shortly. And that's what Azure Cognitive Search does. And so at a high level, the way Azure Cognitive Search works is like any other Azure service, you set it up on our Azure portal, and then you can give it a bunch of documents. So there are three phases that you typically follow in order to get a value from this Azure Search Service. The first one is ingestion. Ingestion is where you take all of your documents, whether it's PDFs, Word, audio files, video, etc. We support a lot of different file formats. And even if you don't support something, you can pretty easily write a custom file extension to ingest data from them. The first step is to ingest it and put it into our Azure location. Once you ingest it, then the Azure Search Service will automatically crack these files open and start indexing them so that you can search on them. But that's not the cool part. Any search offering, like I said, can take documents, ingest it, and let you search on it. The middle layer, called the enrichment layer, is where AI comes into play. Here is where you can apply our cognitive skills, whether it's pre-built AI models that I talked about, whether it's your own machine learning model that you may be building as an organization, or it may not even be AI. It could be simple, regular expression sort of logic that you want to apply within these documents. You can do that within this layer called as the enrichment layer. And we let you plug and play with a lot of those different options. And that's what makes search cognitive search, because now you can make it intelligent, where you can actually enrich the documents and then expose it as more of a structured content for you to search on, or even you don't have to search all the time. So one of the common use cases we are seeing is it's not always about search. I can take all of these unstructured documents, I can enrich them, and I don't have to have a search application on top of it. I could use it for a downstream process. So I could use it for automation as an example. In the form example that I showed you, where I may have lots of invoices, I can extract all that information, but I may just use that as a way to then feed into a downstream system. So I'm not even searching in that scenario. While search is a common use case, it need not be. And that's where the extensibility of the platform comes into play, where you can mine for information and get this rich insights, and you can decide what you want to do with it, because all we're doing is giving you that information back to you. And whether it's a search application that you're building on top of it, or whether it's a business intelligence application you're building on top of it, it's up to you. All right, I think I've spoken enough about how this works conceptually, but I'm gonna just jump in and show you some examples. So I'm gonna start opening my browser window. So can one of you tell me if you're able to see this okay? Is my screen coming through okay?
Yes, let me check in the chat if everybody can see things. Yes, it looks like the attendees can see everything, so you can keep it going, Sri.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so I'm gonna, this is definitely the more interesting part of the session, where I'm gonna show you some examples. So what I've done is, behind the scenes, I've uploaded a bunch of documents, right? So I've uploaded PDFs, Word documents, Excel files, and so on and so forth. All the popular unstructured file types that you typically have in an organization. And what I've done in this particular case is these are a bunch of oil and gas customer documents that I have access to. And so I've uploaded all of them into my Azure Cognitive Search engine. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mine for knowledge. That's why it's called knowledge mining. I'm trying to get insights from these documents. And once I've uploaded all of them, the search service is automatically taking care of cracking them open, extracting them, and creating structured content that I can search on. Now, I've also applied a ton of AI on it. I've applied a ton of out-of-the-box AI. So this is not something that I'm building from scratch. These are pre-built AI services, like our OCR service, like our translation service. I've enabled all of them in that enrichment layer that I just talked about. And once I've done that, now I can really mine for knowledge in a very, very intelligent way. And that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to search on a few keywords, and I'm also going to show you that this is not just about keyword search. You can actually do natural language question answering. You can type a question, we call this semantic search, where you can say, hey, show me all the oil well rigs that are part of this particular organization, or something like that. So I'm going to show you that as well. But to show the AI skills, I'm going to do some searching here. So the first thing that I'm going to search for is this keyword called university, because I know some of these documents and what they contain. So when I do that, and I'll wait for the browser or the screen to refresh on your side, because I'm not sure how fast it is. So when I searched on university, I get about 61 documents in my result set. Now behind the scenes, I have thousands of documents that I've uploaded. Out of these thousands, 61 of them had that word university appear in them, and it was able to quickly go and bring it back to me. Now, if you see that I have lots of different document types here. I have PDFs, I have JPEGs, and so on and so forth. I have PowerPoint files. And so that's, again, the richness of the search ecosystem is you can go and, upload different types of files. Now, interestingly, I'm going to open up one of these PDFs. But before I do that, I'm going to show you that this is a JPEG. And the JPEG had the word university handwritten on the Ziploc. This is, of course, for demo purposes, we uploaded this image. But the point we want to show here is that we also enabled our OCR service as part of the search enrichment step. And because we were able to OCR some of these images, the university, was OCR'd and appeared in the search result, right? That kind of shows you how easy it is to integrate AI services into the search ecosystem. And our OCR for English is, I think, the industry leading. And so if you notice, it's so powerful that it even picked up the name of the Ziploc manufacturer, Johnson, which appeared in the result set here, other than university and others that you see. So that's one AI skill that I've applied. Now I'm going to open one of these PDF documents. So if you see that, there are many PDFs that also have the word university in them. So I'm going to open one of these PDF documents by just clicking on it. And I have a PDF viewer that I've integrated into my web browser where I can show you the results of this document and the way I've been able to search on it. So when this opens up, you see that this is an 86-page PDF document, right? But the word university appeared somewhere within that, and I can actually see exactly where. If I click on this, it shows me, university was part of this document. But if you notice on top, I've applied some of the other AI skills. One of the other AI skills that we have as part of our text analytics service is keyword extraction. So I was also able to identify keywords from this particular document. So I can click on any of these keywords to kind of show you, that there are some keywords that are very repeating in this oil and gas document type that I'm also able to capture, other than the actual document itself and the fact that I was able to find it as part of this keyword. Now, some of the other things that I've applied from an AI perspective is text analytics. So I'm able to categorize these documents also across different entity types. One of the entity that we have we have many of these entities pre-built, so you don't do anything. Again, we have all these AI models automatically built for you. So people is one of the entities that we recognize. So if you have proper nouns and people names in your documents, we automatically can categorize them based on that. So for example, in this case, when I click on people, if I want to just look at documents that had the word Ahmed, the name Ahmed in it, I can also then filter down and just show you the 5 that had university, but it also had the entity people with the name Ahmed. So I can have entity-based searching on all of these, or categorization on these documents as well. If you notice, people, locations, language, etc. are pre-built entities. But oftentimes you want to build your own custom entities because you may have a domain-specific entity that you want to categorize as documents by. And we can do that as well very easily. So there is another entity here that is not pre-built. This is a custom entity that we built called oil wells or wells. I also wanted to find out from these documents, can I also look at or filter by the different well names? So if I click on that, these are all the different oil well names. And I also can recognize that in my document set. So from these 61 documents, 5 of them belong to or had University 37 number 3 well information as part of that. So I can quickly filter and just show those 5 documents. So this custom entity is very easy to create. In this case, you can either use an AI model that you built, or it can be as simple as a dictionary lookup where I may have 50 wells that are very standard in my organization. I can just look up those 50 in a dictionary lookup and enrich the document so that I can tag those as those well names and then get the document search from that standpoint. So those are some of the AI capabilities on that first example that I did. Let's go and do a couple of more. So the next AI skill that I'm going to show you that is also part of the same demo, I'm going to search on another keyword. This time I searched on a name called Maria Lam. Maria Lam, I know, is an author that has written some documents in the petrochemical space. And I wanted to see if I have any documents that she has written. If you notice, there was one document that was resulted, and that was a PDF in a different language. I don't even know what this language is. So let me click on it. Once I click on this PDF document, I see that it is actually a Society of Petroleum Engineers document, and Maria Lam showed up in this. And this is a Russian document, and I don't know Russian. And the reason this showed up is because I've applied the language translation AI service as part of the enrichment layer. What the language translation AI service did is it took the original document on the left, which is in Russian, translated it to English. And if you notice, Maria Lam is here, and that's the name of the author that appears in Russian on the left. So what I've been able to do is I'm able to enable English language search on a document that's not even in English by applying language translation as part of my search pipeline. So that shows another example of how easy it is to do something like this. The last example I'm going to show is another AI service that I've actually built as or enabled as part of this search pipeline. And in this case, I searched on a word called Alba. Alba is the name of an oil field. And when I searched on it, I got 20 results. And all of these, if you notice, are drilling reports. So drilling reports is actually a form that oil and gas customers use. If I click on one of these drilling reports, I see that it's a drilling report and the oil field name Alba is part of this. How did I access this information? Well, one of the other applied AI services we have at Microsoft is called Form Recognizer. Form Recognizer automatically takes documents that have some sort of a repeating structure, a form like this. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but as long as you have some consistency, you can train the model so that it recognizes new forms. And that's exactly what I did. I fed it to the Form Recognizer service. It was able to pick up the different key value pairs that I've specified and able to return that information. One of the key value pairs is a field name. So if you look at the metadata, these are all the different key value pairs that I wanted to get from these forms. Well name, report date, block depth, water depth, so on and so forth. And because I also get the field name from these forms, I was able to search on this keyword called Alba and able to return that in the result set. So Form Recognizer is another AI pre-built service that we have that you're including into this search offering so that you're not just doing some basic searches, you're actually doing an AI-enabled search by going after forms, extracting key value pairs, and then returning that information. So all I've showed you is all the pre-built AI models that we have that are just a checkbox that you use in your workflow and you have it ready. But if you have your own AI models that are solving for certain specific use cases that are very custom, you can also include them in our search pipeline. It's very easy to do that. The search platform is very extensible where you can quickly put in your own code, and we have lots of GitHub repo samples for that. The last demo I'm going to show you before I sort of close the session is we showed you keyword searches, and I was talking about how it's not just about keyword search. You can have natural language searches, which is probably what makes it more interesting. We call that semantic search. And here is an example of a different data set that I've uploaded to my search service where I can actually ask questions in natural language. And I have some example questions. So this is actually a COVID-19 healthcare data set where we have aggregated information from many different in medical journals and others, and we have created a search service on top of it. So if I want to, like, for example, ask a question like, how common is sore throat among COVID-19 patients, then I can go in and, the search behind the scene goes in and sort of ranks these documents based on the question that I've asked and can give me that information. In fact, I can kind of compare how this works if you don't have semantic search. So I can, enable a few other features like spelling check, semantic ranking, and even have this feature called answers, which is pretty cool. Like in Google search engine or Bing search engine, when you type in a question, you get, like, if it is a question, you get the most popular answer sort of show up on top. That's exactly what we're doing here with cognitive search, with the semantic search capability, where when I clicked on that answer feature, it showed me the most popular answer for this particular question. So think of, implementing a Google or a Bing-like experience in your organization using cognitive search, and even taking it one step further where you can enhance it with these AI skills and make it a custom application for you. And like I was mentioning earlier, it doesn't even have to be search. It could be any downstream system that you want to feed this information to, because all we're doing is we're taking unstructured document, converting that into a meaningful structure that you can then use in your own custom applications. So I think, in the interest of time, that was a pretty quick, short end-to-end walkthrough of it. We have many customers that are using this. I'm not going to go and read about all the different customer examples. You can go to our website and sort of get that information automatically. We are ranked in the leaders quadrant, in all the different analyst reports. Like I mentioned, this is not a new offering. Unlike our competitors, we have had search as part of a Bing team for many, many years, and been pretty successful. And knowledge mining is a very, very exciting area that you all can take advantage of.